Hi, welcome to this October Crop Diary report. Last month we discussed subtle soil degradation. In other words, soil degradation that is not noticed by the landholder because it is subtle from one year to the next and takes many years, even decades, to be recognised, by which time it is very costly to reclaim. In my travels throughout the Australian agricultural belt in the last 20 years, I continually see this happening, even to the extent that some soils have been abandoned to productive use. When I travelled to China and visited an agricultural research facility in central China, and farmers in that region where these soils have been continually cropped for 4,000 years, Western-style agriculture with chemical fertilisers and herbicides have only been introduced over the last 15 or 20 years, and now the older farmers are saying their soils are not what they used to be. I gave some examples of inputs that are responsible for some of this subtle soil degradation, inputs which have a real impact on soil life. But what are alternative inputs that we can use that do not destroy living biology in the soil and still enable the farmer to achieve desired yields, which is important in our high-cost environment in agriculture today? Firstly, it is important to understand that balanced soils and balanced plant nutrition play a key role in plants' resistance to insect and fungal attack, which then means chemicals that are detrimental to soil life do not need to be used. Resources for balancing soils and plants are readily available, and farmers who, through a process, understand their own farm nutritional status do not use these chemicals at all. Another example is to understand that nitrogen use efficiency is very dependent on adequate sulphur, zinc and calcium. These nutrients are synergistic, and there are many examples of nitrogen fertiliser inputs being halved when this balance is addressed and still achieve the desired yield but higher protein and oil content. Balanced soils mean less chemicals need to be used. For example, Cape reed and silvergrass are an indication of low calcium levels in the soil. Correct a calcium deficiency and these weeds will simply disappear without the use of chemicals. An example of inputs that are friendly in the soil environment are ammonium nitrogen sources rather than urea, and mineral-rich fertilisers such as guano instead of the traditional phosphate fertilisers. For a family farm, a lifetime of building soil carbon and soil structure and fertility is the best thing they can do for future generations.